Magandang araw mga bata! Welcome to Teacher Marla's channel, kung saan maraming matututunan sa lesson na ating pag-aaralan. Our subject is Mathematics 6. Our topic for today is about addition and subtraction of fractions. First, let us define fraction. When we say fraction, it represents a part of a whole or more generally, any number of equal parts. Let us remember this statement. First, the numerators depart. Second, the denominators the whole. And third, fractions are parts of a whole. Example, 2/5. 2 is the numerator, which is the part, and 5 is the denominator, which is the whole. Example, sa isang pizza na mayroong 8 slices ay kumain ka ng isa. Kumain ka ulit ng isa pa. A total of 2 slices of pizza. Ang kinain mo ay 2/8 ng pizza. 2 represents the numerator and 8 is the denominator kung saan siya ang kabuuang slices ng pizza. Now let us discuss the basic concepts in fraction. First, we have greatest common factor or what we call the GCF. It is commonly used when reducing a fraction into its lowest term. Tandaan, ginagamit ang GCF kapag magre-reduce tayo ng fraction into its lowest term. So let's have an example. Find the GCF of 6 and 10. So first, we need to list all the factors of 6 and 10. So, pag sinabi nating factors, ano yung mga numbers na nakaka-divide sa given number? So, the factors of 6 are 1, 6, 2, and 3. Then, the factors of 10 are 1, 10, 2, and 5. So, ibig sabihin, ang 1, 10, 2, and 5 ay makaka-divide sa 10. Kaya, yun ang factors ng number 10. Next is to find the common factors. So, ang common factors ng 6 and 10 ay 1 and 2. Pag sinabi natin common factors, ano yung numbers na meron ang 6 and 10? So, we have 1 and 2. Then, the greatest common factor is 2. Kasi hinahanap natin yung pinakamataas. Since ang pinakamataas ay 2, ang greatest common factor ng 6 and 10 ay 2. Next, we have the least common multiple, or what we call the LCM. It is commonly used when adding and subtracting dissimilar fraction. So, ang GCF ay ginagamit kapag magre-reduce sa lowest term. Ang LCM naman ay ginagamit kapag mag-add and magsusubtract ng dissimilar fraction. So, example, find the least common multiple of 4 and 6. So, number 1, you need to list the multiples of 4 and 6. So, the multiples of 4 are 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. So, merong tatlong dots dito. So, ibig sabihin, up to infinity, may kasunod pa yang multiples. Then, the multiples of 6 are 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, and so on. Then, find the common multiple. So, common multiples, ano yung number na parehong meron ang 4 at saka 6. So, we have 12 and we have 24. So, meron pa yung mga kasunod na multiples dito. So, ito munang dalawa yung kunin natin. Kasi ang hinahanap natin ay yung pinakamababa, least common multiple. So, the common multiples of 4 and 6 are 12 and 24. So, for us to get the least common multiple, kukunin natin yung pinakamababa, which is 12. Therefore, the least common multiple of 4 and 6 is 12. Next is expressing a fraction into its lowest term. So this is commonly used when reducing a fraction into its simplest form. So example, express 4 over 8 into its lowest term. So number 1 is to find the GCF of both numerator and denominator. So The factors of 4 are 1, 2, and 4. Then the factors of 8 are 1, 2, and 4. So these are the common factors of 4 and 8. We have 1, 2, and 4. Then, the GCF of 4 and 8 is 4 kasi po siya yung pinakamalaki. So, ang kukunin nating GCF ay 4. Then, number 2, divide the numerator and the denominator of the given fraction by their GCF. So, 4 over 8 divided by the GCF 4. 4 divided by 4 is equal to 1. 8 divided by 4 is equal to 2. Therefore, the answer is 1/2. So let us remember that a fraction is in lowest term if, number 1, it is a unit fraction. So when we say unit fraction, a fraction with a numerator of 1. So example of unit fractions are 1/2, 1/3, 1/4. Basta yung numerator niya ay 1, ibig sabihin ay naka-lowest term na ang isang fraction. Second, the numerator and denominator are consecutive numbers. So kapag magkasunod na number ang numerator and denominator, ibig sabihin ay naka-lowest term na ang isang fraction. Example are 3/4, 5/6, 7 over 8, 10 over 11. So basta magkasunod ang numerator at denominator or consecutive numbers, ibig sabihin ng isang fraction ay naka-lowest term na. Third, both numerator and denominator are prime numbers. So when we say prime numbers, numbers having no common factors other than 1. So example ng prime numbers ay 3, 5, 7, 11, and so on. So pag sinabing prime numbers, dalawa lang ang factor, 1 and itself. So since prime number sila, ang numerator and denominator, ibig sabihin, wala silang common factors other than 1. Kapag prime numbers, ang numerator and denominator, the fraction is in lowest term. Next is expressing an improper fraction as mixed number. So pag sinabi nating improper fraction, mas mataas ang numerator compared to the denominator. So this is commonly used when simplifying a fraction. So example, convert 15 over 7 as mixed number. So ang 15 over 7 ay improper fraction kasi mas mataas ang numerator compared sa denominator. So number 1 is to divide the numerator by the denominator using long division. So 15 over 7, 15 will be the dividend, 7 is the divisor. 15 divided by 7 is equal to 2. 2 times 7 is equal to 14. Then subtract, we have remainder 1. Second step is the quotient will be the whole number part of the mixed number. Then the remainder will be the numerator of the fraction part over the denominator. So the quotient will be the whole number. So we have 2. Then the remainder will be the numerator. So meron tayong 1. And yung 7 na denominator, nandito din sa baba ng na-convert nating mixed number. Now, so let's proceed to addition and subtraction of fraction. So, since na-discuss na natin yung mga dapat malaman at kakailanganin kapag nag-add and nagsusubtract ng fractions. We have similar fraction. So, similar fractions are fractions which have the same denominator. To add or subtract similar fractions, add or subtract the numerators and copy the common denominator. Simplify the resulting fraction if possible. So, tandaan, pag sinabi nating similar fraction, pareho ang denominator. Same denominator. Example, add 3 over 6 plus 1/6. So, 6 and 6 ang denominator. So, this is an example of similar fraction. So, number 1 is to add the numerator. So, 3 plus 1. Then, copy the denominator. Copy the common denominator. So, we have 6. 3 plus 1 is equal to 4. Copy the denominator, 6. So, the answer is 4 over 6. And then, simplify your answer. So, kukunin natin ang lowest term. So, ang 4 and 6 ay may GCF na 2, kaya i-divide natin. 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3. So therefore, the answer is 2/3. Another example, subtract 8 over 15 minus 3 over 15. So number 1, subtract the numerators, 8 minus 3. Then number 2, copy the common denominator, 15. So we have 5 over 15. Then simplify the answer. So 5 and 15, the GCF is 5. So 5 divided by 5 is equal to 1. 15 divided by 5 is equal to 3. So, since this is a unit fraction, therefore, naka-lowest term na po ang 1/3. So, the answer is 1/3. Next, we have dissimilar fractions. So, dissimilar fractions are fractions with different denominators. To add or subtract dissimilar fractions, find the least common denominator or LCD. Then rewrite each fraction into its equivalent fraction using the LCD. Add or subtract the numerators and write the sum or difference over the common denominator. Simplify the resulting fraction if possible. Example, add 1/4 and 2/6. So 4 and 6, so magkaiba ang denominator. So this is an example of dissimilar fraction. Step 1 is to determine the LCD. So yung LCD or yung LCM. So kailangan natin hanapin ang LCM ng 4 and 6. So we need to list the multiples of 4 and 6. So 4, these are the multiples of 4. 4, 8, 12, 16, and so on. Multiples of 6, 6, 12, 18, 24, and so on. So, the LCM or LCD of 4 and 6 is 12. So, step 2, to get the equivalent fraction, divide the LCD by the denominator and multiply the answer or quotient by the numerator. So, to get the equivalent fraction, we need to divide the denominator. So, 12 divided by 4 is equal to 3. Times 1 is equal to 3. Next is 12 divided by 6 is 2 times 2 is equal to 4. Step 3 is to add the numerators over the common denominator since similar fraction na ang 3/12 and 4/12. So 3 plus 4, then copy the denominator 12. So the answer is 7/12. Example number 2, 3/5 minus 3/15. So, dissimilar fraction since magkaiba ang denominator. So, step 1 is to determine the LCD or the LCM. So, the LCM of 5 and 15 is 15. So, ilalagay natin siya sa least common denominator. Then, step 2 is to get the equivalent fraction by dividing the denominator and multiply 2 numerator. So, 15 divided by 5 is equal to 3 times 3 is equal to 9. 15 divided by 15 is equal to 1 times 3 is equal to 3. Then, step 3, subtract the numerators over the common denominator. So, we have 9 minus 3. Then, copy the denominator 15. Simplify the answer. So, the answer is 2/5 because the GCF of 6 and 15 is 3. So 6 divided by 3 is equal to 2. 15 divided by 3 is equal to 5. So the answer is 2/5. For mixed similar fractions, add or subtract the whole numbers and the fractions. Simplify the resulting fraction if possible. Example, add 4 and 5/10 plus 2 and 3/10. So, since parehas yung denominator, so diretso tayo ng pag-add ng numerator and the whole number. So, step 1, add the whole numbers and the fraction. So, 4 plus 2, then 5 plus 3. Step 2, combine and simplify. So, we have 4 plus 2. 4 plus 2 is equal to 6. Then, 5 plus 3 is equal to 8. So, naging 6 and 4/5 siya kasi ni-lowest term na yung 8/10. So, ang GCF ng 8 and 10 is 2. So, 8 divided by 2 is equal to 4. 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. So the answer is 6 and 4/5. Example number 2, subtract 5 and 8/10 minus 2 and 2/10. So similar fraction, proceed tayo sa subtraction ng whole number and the numerator. Subtract the whole numbers and the fraction. So we have 5 minus 2 and 8 minus 2. Then combine and simplify. So 5 minus 2 is equal to 3. 8 minus 2 is equal to 6. So may GCF pa ang 6 and 10. So i-divide natin siya by 2. 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3. 10 divided by 2 is equal to 5. So the answer is 3 and 3/5. Another example, subtract 6 and 2/5 minus 3 and 4/5. So, pareho ang kanilang denominator. Pero, kung napapansin natin, 2 minus 4 cannot be. Kapag hindi pwedeng isubtract kasi mas maliit yung nasa unahan, ibig sabihin magbaborrow tayo sa whole number. Okay, step 1, since we cannot subtract 4 from 2, regroup 1 or 5/5 from 6. Any fraction with the same numerator and denominator has a value of 1. So, 5/5 has a value of 1. So, magbaborrow tayo ng isa dito sa 6, magiging siyang 5. So, ang idadagdag natin dito sa 2/5 ay 5/5 since ang denominator ay 5. So, 5 plus, ito na yung binarrow natin kasi ang 5/5 is equivalent to 1. Ito yung hiniram natin sa 6. Kaya yung 6 kanina ay naging 5 na lang. So, idadagdag natin siya sa 2/5. So, ang sagot natin ay from 6 and 2/5 magiging siyang 5 and 7/5. Naging 7 kasi 5 plus 2. So, itong fraction na to, pwede na natin siyang isubtract. Subtract the whole numbers and the fractions. So we have 5 minus 3, then 7 minus 4. Combine. So 5 minus 3 is equal to 2, then 7 minus 4 is equal to 3. So the answer is 2 and 3/5. For mixed dissimilar fractions, determine the LCD of the fraction and change it to its equivalent fraction using the common denominator. Add or subtract the whole numbers and the fractions. Simplify the resulting fraction if possible. Example number 1, add 4 and 2/3 plus 5 and 2/6. So, magkaiba ang denominator. So, we have 3 and 6. So, this is an example of mixed dissimilar fraction. So, step 1 is to determine the LCD. So, lista natin ang GCF ng 3 and 6. So, ang GCF ay LCM. So, ang LCM ng 3 and 6 is 6. So, lalagay natin siya sa LCD. Step 2 is to get the equivalent fractions by dividing the denominator and multiply to numerator. So, 6 divided by 3 is equal to 2 times 2 is equal to 4. 6 divided by 6 is equal to 1 times 2 is equal to 2. Then, add the whole numbers and then the fractions. So, we have 9 and 6. So, 4 plus 5 is equal to 9. Then, 4 plus 2 is equal to 6. So, since ang 6 ay equivalent sa 1, ang final answer natin ay 10 because 9 plus 1 is equal to 10. Another example, subtract 5 and 3/4 minus 2 and 2/5. So, number 1, determine the LCD. So, ililista natin ang least common multiples para mahanap ang LCD. So, the LCM of 4 and 5 is 20. So, lalagay na natin siya sa LCD. Next is to get the equivalent fraction by dividing the denominator and multiply to numerator. 20 divided by 4 is equal to 5 times 3 is equal to 15. 20 divided by 5 is equal to 4 times 2 is equal to 8. Then, subtract the whole numbers and then the fractions. So, we have 5 minus 2 and 15 minus 8. So the answer is 3 and 7 over 20. Another example, subtract 6 and 2/3 minus 4 and 5/7. So step 1 is to determine the LCD. Ililista ang LCM, ang multiples. So we have 21. So ang LCD ay 21. Second is to get the equivalent fraction by dividing the denominator and multiply to numerator. So 21 divided by 3 is equal to 7 times 2 is equal to 14. 21 divided by 7 is equal to 3 times 5 is equal to 15. So as you can see, katulad kanina, similar fraction na sila pero mababa ang 14 kesa sa 15. 14 minus 15 is cannot be. So, kailangan natin mag-borrow sa 6. Since we cannot subtract 15 from 14, regroup 1 or 21 over 21 from 6. Kasi po, ang denominator niya ay 21, so ang gagamitin natin ay 21 over 21. Yun ang idadagdag natin sa 14 over 21 para lumaki yung 14 over 21 and makapag-subtract tayo mamaya. Okay, so nag-borrow tayo ng isa sa 6 kaya naging 5 na lang. So ito yung binarrow natin, 21 over 21. Idadagdag siya sa 14 over 21. So we have 5 and 35 over 21. So yung 6 and 14, 21, naging na siyang 5 and 35 over 21. Okay, then subtract the whole numbers and then the fractions. So 5 minus 4, then 35 minus 15. So the answer is 1 and 20 over 21. In adding and subtracting fractions, so let us remember these steps. Step 1 is to make sure the denominators are the same. If not, find the least common denominator. Step 2, get the equivalent fraction by dividing the LCD by the denominator and multiply the answer or the quotient to the numerator. Then step 3, add or subtract the numerators over the common denominator. Last step is to always simplify your answer. Okay, that's the end of our discussion. I hope you learned how to add and subtract similar and dissimilar fraction. Thank you for watching. If you are new in our channel, please subscribe and click the notification bell for more math and science videos.